evening, Skylar.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You're not on speakerphone, are you?
Yeah, no, I'm not. Sorry. I'm partially deaf. I do apologise.
Well, don't apologise for being deaf.
No, good. That's fine. I'm also partially sighted.
Apologise for that.
No, I don't need to apologise for it. But, yeah, I'm just saying. What I wanted to say was that I admire you and I admire Catherine. Hello, Kath.
Hello, thank you.
And wow, it's an honour to speak to you both. Basically, let me go through a bit of background information first before I give you the big reveal, as they say.
You're not my dad, are you?
I hope not.
Okay.
I'd rather be your mum. But let's go through this whole scenario with me. I am partially blind.
Yes.
Partially deaf.
Yes.
I've got Asperger's.
Oh.
I've got a twin brother who lives in Bristol.
Yeah.
He's in residential care. He's deaf. I discovered within myself, I've done a lot of soul searching.
Yes.
And I realised that I am bigender. In other words, I enjoy being a girl.
Yes.
And I enjoy being a boy. I enjoy having physicalities of both genders. In other words, I like to have breasts. I want to have breasts.
Yes.
And I want to eventually become a hermaphrodite. That is my goal, my main goal at the end of the day.
Sorry to interrupt, Scott. This is fascinating.
Yes.
We're obviously, transgender and transitioning from.
I'm not joking. I'm not kidding around.
I don't think you are for a second. As I say, I've been doing this 15 years. I can tell by the tone of the voice when someone is serious. I've heard of transitioning from male to female, and I'm using these terms in inverted commas, and also transitioning from female to male. I've never heard of anyone.
My sister-in-law's just done it. My sister-in-law was my brother-in-law, and my brother-in-law is now my sister-in-law. So that's all.
Yeah, and that's great, and that happens, and that's wonderful, and more power to everyone's elbow. I have never heard of someone transitioning to be a hermaphrodite. Does that happen? Is that common? Have there been many?
Well, let's put it this way, right? It's called bigender or genderqueer or non-binaryism, but of course they do not take it to the example that I would consider myself to be taking it. But my mind has always felt like a girl and a boy at the same time. Gosh. So it's like sometimes I feel like a boy, sometimes I feel like a girl. I mean, that's by gender. But the ultimate term, the ultimate thing that's beyond that would be the hermaphrodite issue. But I can easily split myself in between two different genders. That's fine. It's not a problem. For people to understand it, for people to make sense of it, I have to go through life either as a male or a female. But within my heart and within my soul, I automatically, mentally do feel, and I always have done, a hermaphrodite.
Okay, let me ask you some questions if you don't mind. Do you feel... So you said you contradicted yourself slightly, and I just want to pick up on it because I want clarity.
Of course.
You said you feel like a boy and a girl at the same time, and then you said... Maybe it's not a contradiction. Then you said sometimes you feel like a boy, and then you switch and you feel like a girl. Is it a case of... For example, in the morning you feel like a boy, in the evening you feel like a girl, and there are times when you feel simultaneously to be a boy and a girl. Do you understand what I mean?
In other words, I can equally feel both at the same time.
Yep, there we go.
Or I can also feel one.
Yep.
Or I can also feel the other.
Right, gosh. And where does... Well, I was going to ask you a question that's impossible to ask, because I was going to ask, what does it feel like to be both? But then if I were to ask you, Kath, what does it feel like to be a girl? And you ask me, what does it feel like to be a boy? I don't know. So maybe it's... But perhaps if you are emotionally and mentally transitioning throughout the day or throughout the week, maybe you could answer that. What does it feel like to be both simultaneously?
How does it feel? Wow. I mean... At the end of the day, and this is going to probably blow your mind concept a little bit, but I believe in the afterlife. In other words, I believe that everything is equal to everything else. In other words, I believe in a higher consciousness. I believe that all consciousness is one, and I believe that we're all particles of God. And I believe that every single particle of God is within us, and I believe that everything within us is within God.
Yes.
So, the creatorialism. Basically, we're the whole multiverse concept. I believe in that. I believe in the whole multiverse, the omniverse. I believe in all that stuff.
Yes.
So basically, I believe that we're spiritual beings first.
Yes.
And I believe that we incarnate, and we reincarnate, and we go on to other planets or whatever.
Wow.
And eventually we're all part of God anyway. So everything is one and everything else and all that stuff. And I sort of came to my own sort of scenario was basically once I'm on this planet, I'll enjoy being as much I possibly can of being as much one with myself that I possibly can, because at the end of the day, I am the creator, you are the creator,
yes.
we all are the creator, we all created ourselves, and we all create... exactly.
Yes. So your goal is your goal to have both let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Is your goal to have both a vagina and a penis and testicles?
Absolutely.
Why? Good question, isn't it?
Because that is a very good
isn't it? I don't know. It's a blunt one. Why? Why is that your goal? Because I imagine transitioning is physically, emotionally, and mentally to one side, physically traumatic because it's such a huge change that happens to various parts of the body. But to have, may I ask? I'm
obviously not going to go through that. Obviously, because obviously realistic situations. Because I need to bloody pee. You know what I mean? But,
all right. So you're not going to do that.
But I would like to do it. Of course, I would. But practical scenarios would like.
Right. Has anyone done that?
How do I put it this way? It's like you need to use the loo, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, that would be catastrophic. That would be
all over the shop, wouldn't it?
All over the shop. I don't need to go into details, but you can understand what I'm getting at. Well, of course, I would love to be ideally, realistically, I would love to be both, but obviously in practicality, obviously can't really happen.
So what have you got now? Have you got a winky or a noo-noo?
Leave it, elder.
I tell you why, because I thought, because I saw Skylar, and Skylar is traditionally a female name. Then I heard your voice, and you sounded a little bit deeper than a female. So I said, "Oh, you're not my dad," and you said, "Oh no, I'd rather be your mum." So I'm confused.
Okay, honey, I'm going to let you keep guessing. It's up to you. But anyway,
I suppose it is up to me. It's a good answer. I like that answer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you can think what you want. I don't really give a shit. I've got what I've got, and
yeah. Well, fair play.
Actually, that was quite a personal question.
Yeah. No, it was a very personal question. Very personal question. Yeah, I thought we were at a stage well answered. Well answered.
Can I ask Ian, how big is your cock?
Well, you can ask me. I wasn't asking you the size of yours, but on the Slack, it's not very much. It's not very much at all.
Exactly. I've always suffered physically. To be personal, I've always been born with one testicle.
Right.
So that works out that handsome.
Okay.
And also I've been born with a very, very, very tiny little doodah.
Yes.
So basically, I can insert the doodah into a vagina.
Yeah.
So I can that small that I can insert it like deep. Put my finger right in and...
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Okay, well, we don't need to go into...
You get what
I've got the image in my head. Okay, so why... I've so completely forgotten how this conversation started. Why are you decided to... But I'm glad it did start. Why have you decided to share this with us? Did you tell me, Skylar? I can't remember.
I suppose I just wanted to speak to somebody. I don't know why should I have shared it with you, but I thought to myself that it'd be nice to talk to somebody about it. Is that uncomfortable with you?
No, not in the slightest. No, listen. I'm glad I'm glad that you've called in. I just couldn't remember if you phoned in and gave us a reason as to why you were saying. But people don't need a reason for calling this show. This is the only radio show in the world, I think, where people can phone up and share whatever they want to share. I'm pleased that you felt that you could share it with us.
I wanted to share it with you, and I wanted to feel like I could possibly maybe spread some light on my views and my details, and I hope hopefully you can sort of understand.
Well, I think understand is a big old word, isn't it? That's got many different connotations. Do I understand? No, I don't understand, but I am glad that you've shared it. Understand is not the word I'm looking for, because I don't understand, because I can't understand what it's like for someone. I can try and empathise and I can try and imagine, but I can't understand what it's like for someone who wants to transition whichever way, ending up in whichever thing. I don't understand, because I am in my body and I feel comfortable in my body, and
But we both know what it is to feel out of place.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, I'll put it this way to you, right? It's like when I was a boy, and when somebody told me I can't hug this person because she's a girl, and then they were hugging each other, the staff and stuff, hugging the girls. I said, you can't be hugged because you're a boy. Oh. And it's like, to myself, that was when I realised I don't really think I do not like that sort of synopsis. Because why should I not be hugged? Why can't I be loved as much?
I'd give you a hug if you were here now and you wanted one. I'd give you a hug.
Oh, thank you. God bless you. But it's like, unfortunately, it's like when you're with, unfortunately, when I was a boy, I was so much downed upon as well. It's like people were, I kept going out asking people out, they always get turned down. I'm a virgin at the age of 38, right? Mm. So at the end of the day, now I consider myself, and I always, it wasn't anything to do with that, but it was like, when I was, I was kind of like, so many rejections in my life, many rejections. And when you ask me about my dad, that kind of upset me, because of course my dad just died of cancer. But
recently?
He died in 2016.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's not to worry. But, so basically, I do kind of feel like I was neglected as a lad.
It sounds like it.
And I couldn't really physically fight, because I can't have to stomach. And these two boys that I was in college with, unfortunately, put their hands down my pants and... and they touched my genitalia, which were very unpleasant to me. So the background is very much a big thing to how I see myself now to what I was before. But now I see myself, because I've grown into it. Yeah. And also, of course, when I was really born this way. Yeah. But I didn't know how to explain it. I was scared to explain it.
Yeah, of course.
I was like thinking it was like, oh my God, I'm a freak, I'm this and that. And it took me so many bloody suicide attempts. I had depression. I took painkillers like no tomorrow, right? And I took drugs and I took all this stuff, and
How are you now? Are you? When was your last suicide attempt, if you don't mind me asking?
And self-harming. That was basically over a year ago.
Okay, well that's good. That's a good length of time to have between self-harming and attempting to kill yourself and do all those horrible things.
I've kind of now accepted who I am.
That's the first step.
And who I am is basically a hermaphrodite. And unfortunately, people can't understand it, so that's why I say I'm bi-gender, so I'm both male and female. So it makes it more sense. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And going back to that word understanding, in the last 3 minutes, what you've just said has given me a little bit of understanding. If you understand what I'm saying,
I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
A little bit. It says on my thing you're calling from Bristol, but that ain't a Bristol accent.
Oh, God, no. Because I identify as biracial, too. So, in other words...
Oh, God, no, don't. We're going to hold minefield. We're going in now.
I know, but what I mean is I don't like the term white. And in other words, I like to dye my skin once in a while, darker colours, brown. I mean, people suntan, don't they?
Yes,
so
yes.
I also like to classify myself as a Indian or Australian.
Well, now, isn't that interesting? Because there was a huge debate recently. Do you remember that young lady? We talked about her the other day, whose name escapes me, the American lady who has white heritage, but through darkening her skin and having her hair in braids... identified herself as African American.
Yeah, Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah,
I know the one you mean, and I basically believe that if we're all born on planet Earth, as far as we know, could have been born on Andromeda or some faraway galaxy, and we came back here. But this is our own experience. At the moment, we know that we are actually on Earth, so. God knows why that's called Earth. It's such a boring name. But hey-ho, apart from that, I think we should close down all the borders. I think we should all become one race. I think called the human race. I don't know what it's stuff, but hey-ho. But I consider myself, if I want to, like I'm going to dye my hair, like I could dye my skin Indian. And if I want to speak with an Indian accent, I will speak with an Indian accent. And if I want to speak with an Australian accent, I'll speak with an Australian.
There's a difference, of course, of speaking in an Indian accent and speaking in an Australian accent, and one could be perceived as being offensive, and one could be perceived as being a light ribbing, and so, and I think there is,
and it's not meant to be.
No, I know it's not. I'm not saying you are, but I do think, and we haven't got time now because I've got other callers waiting. But I do think there is a difference between identifying yourself with a different or multiple genders. There is a difference between that and identifying yourself as coming from a different racial background.
Interesting.
I think there is. It's an ethical question. Hey, Skylar, nice to talk to you.
Can we put it out to the audience?
Oh, these listeners, they're idiots. They won't understand what we're talking about. This has been way above their heads. Hey, listen, Skylar, will you give us a call again? I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
There
you go. Fascinating. What a lovely human being, and absolutely fascinating. Fascinating.
Tales of mystery and imagination on the radio show that does things differently.
Dolly Parton, I listen to a record all day long.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee.
I'm a nut job, but not that kind of nut job.
On Talk Radio.
Honest to God, it's the new Breaking Bad.
Oh, no.